I hope you recognize the greeting Dzień dobry, which is good morning. We are approaching. We are becoming closer to the final conclusions from the summer school. So then we are faced by a few lectures only and some interviews to be accomplished. And I'm glad to introduce once again Dr. Tatiana Bocian, who will give us a speech on the necessity of CSR implementation on the national level. So the floor is yours. After this lecture, we are invited to join the Polish language class delivered by colleagues by the students in fact from the School of Polish Language from the University of Wrocław. Okay, the floor is yours.
Dziękuję bardzo za uwagę. To już musicie zwykać do języka polskiego. Okay, I'll speak English, but this is like the beginning. It's Polish language. My first lecture was about the communication and CSR communication on the national level. But up to now, I guess that some of you don't familiar with such conception as the CSR conception. That's why I would like at first to represent the basic topic I'm research now here in Wrocław, and I want to research this topic for the whole year. And that's why I was also the participant of the grand events that were held here in Wrocław and in Warsaw as well. So at first I will represent my topic, and after that I will introduce you the Global Forum in Wrocław, which is a great occasion here in Poland. And the second is the German Marshall Fund Forum that was held in Warsaw last week. So at first about the CSR and the necessity of the CSR. To explain you what is the meaning of CSR, I took the tea, basically I grabbed it from the table out there to show you that here is some kind of certified, Rainforest Alliance certified. And that shows that this tea grounded on the place there was no forest before. And this is basically the CSR consumption and conception. This is the meaning of the CSR, is to avoid something that will have bad impact on environment and on the society. The main goal of my presentation is to introduce the CSR conception and to prove that implementation CSR conception on the national level is much more effective than on the business level, as it now in Ukraine and European Union as well. And the plan of my presentation is present here. You can see it. First, it will be the introduction of the CSR, and then we will say I will talk about the CSR problems in Ukraine and in Poland, and basically in European countries because they are the same. And after that, we will talk about the specific of the CSR implementation on the national level. So, what is the CSR? It's a huge sentences which explain what is the CSR, and this is the basis, what is it. But in a few words, it's just the conception of the activity of the business which will give some benefits to environment, to stakeholders, and to the community. This is the three main parts of the sentences what you can read over here. So this is the main parts is bolded here, and this is impacts on the society and on the environment. And stakeholders, as I said before, this is the main beneficiaries of the CSR. And these are environment first and society. Society inside the business and outside the business. So basically it's employees and the community as well. And I would like to say you that CSR is not a philanthropy, because here in Poland a lot of people and also in business think that CSR is just basically philanthropy. If you have money and you have some kind of revenue and you will give it to the children's house or someone who is like poor or just send them to Ukraine, it would be a CSR business. But this is not what is it. The CSR is conception what have to be implemented for the first step of the business and up to the end of the business. So it's not a philanthropy as it is. Probably you understand now what is the CSR. And the next we will talk about the problems connected with CSR in Ukraine and in Poland. I would like to say that you can read about CSR now everywhere, on any website, on any film. As far as you remember, yesterday I asked our representative about the CSR conception. And he said what every single company in every single country had its CSR conception, and you can read it on the site. But the point is, the quality doesn't mean, or the quantity doesn't mean the quality of such kind of reports. For example, in Ukraine, you can find 189 reports for the period from 2006 up to 2012. I took this period just because it was the period of the implementation of Global Compact initiative by the United Nations Organization. And this was the first step about CSR implementation. And this is the basic step not just in Ukraine, but all in the countries around the world. And compared with Poland, they don't have that much reports. They have just 78, and the period of implementation, the Global Compact initiative, is longer than in Ukraine. But in Ukraine, seems everything is okay, but is it okay? And can we see the real picture of what we gained from the quantity of the CSR? Or maybe these reports are just reports to be done, just to have it like it is, and nobody cares what is inside. Maybe we add some kind of information like window dressing just to show up that we would do something good, something beneficial for everyone, and we are such a good firm, and investors let's come to us. So, according to my research, just 19% of all CSR reports in Ukraine are prepared according to their quality requirements. And basically, there are information which is not believed in these reports. And for example, I will take the report 31. As far as you remember, in Ukraine we have, we have more than 150 reports. So I just took the one, and it was interesting. Somebody knows who is this woman? She is the Queen Rania. She is the Queen of Jordan. And the sign what was beside this picture is, like in Kiev, is the people who work on the factory, basically what made this report. And it's just like blood donation in Kiev. So they just put, obviously, the picture which doesn't connect to it at all. And they use it like to show that they give the blood to the people who need it. And why they do like this? What is the point? Because if you will read any books about CSR, you will see that it's so good for business. If you will not do the CSR, you will not gain a good profit, you will not be as much good as without CSR activity. So my research was connected to the efficiency of CSR activity in Ukraine and in Europe as well. And what I see, I will give you some case study about this, about the CSR evaluation and about how it works. At first, it would be case that is what happened in 80s of the last century, and it was connected with Fort Pinto. The problem about Fort Pinto was the next. they had a fuel which was not on the beginning of the car, but somewhere from the backside. And if two cars just collapsed together, it was explosion. And in this explosion, a lot of people died. So the firm decided to see what is better. Maybe it's better to help to the people who was injured and killed during this accident, or basically we have to put all of the cars from the market. And what they decide? They decide to make the cost-benefit analysis, which is quite obvious. They have to calculate the benefits, the cost, and after that just compare. If benefits is higher than cost, then they should do what is more efficient. So the benefits was the next. You see, the savings. The savings, they calculate how many people died and how many of them was injured. And they also calculate how much they have to pay for each person and for each injury. And here is the benefit. And after that, they calculate about the costs. And the cost was connected with the cars that they would like to put off the market. And they see that cost is higher than benefits. That's why the Ford company decided not to take off the cars from the market, just to pay for the victims of such kind of explosions. And they say it's CSR activity because we help people who was injured or who basically died. And this case, you can hear about this if you will see or you saw this movie. This is a very popular movie in Ukraine, but it's quite old. Probably all of you saw that, yes? Fight Club. And they speak about this case in the beginning, but they don't say this is the Ford case company, or the Ford case. And the next is also about CSR, but the CSR in Czech Republic. Who are from Czech? So, okay, you will say how it was. It was at the end of the 90s, last century. The Philip Morris had some kind of problem with the authorities of the Czech Republic just because they wanted to put it off from the market. So they decided to show that smoking is really good for the country. How they did it? They just made a cost-benefit analysis. They calculate the benefits of smoking, but benefits of smoking not for every smoker, but on a national level. So what is the benefits? The first is taxes. It's understandable. The taxes which is paid by smokers who buy the cigarettes and the producer of the cigarettes. First. The second, if people die earlier, so no need for the country to pay any kind of retirement, no need social benefits for such kind of people. And also they calculate the cost of smoking. The cost was connected with loss of tax if people die earlier. It also was connected with payment of day offs because people have some kind of disease. And also the cases of fire if someone will smoke at home. So they calculate and they show to the nation of Czech Republic that basically it's better than people would smoke in the country. And as far as I know, they are still on the market in Czech Republic. Are they? Yes, they are. So they say this is also some kind of CSR, just because they help the country to basically develop itself. Who cares about people who will die? The cost-benefit analysis shows that everything is fine. And this is some kind of specific CSR evaluation, and I would like to say that nothing changed from that period of time. The next case study is H&M. Probably all of you know about this trademark. And what they basically say on their site, your cheap fashion, our mystery. And also they say that our vision is what all business operations shall be run in a way what is economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. But what is in reality? In reality, a lot of women die in Bangladesh on the factories, which is basically not appropriate for the people who work there. And last week, it was a huge forum between the Zara, H&M, and Bangladesh authorities about should they stay in Bangladesh or they should be work somewhere else. Not in Bangladesh just because it's caused a lot of death of the people. So, according to my point of view, I think that CSR problem should be solved not on the business level, but on the national level, and just by putting the necessary laws to the firms that should have their reports according to the rules, which is should be internationally recognized, and also they should make some kind of changes about CSR activity. And the specific of CSR implementation on the national level can be divided in a short and long period. About the short period, this is a corporate sustainability. This is exactly what should be done, and every firm have to say who are the stakeholders of the firm and what they are doing for the CSR. And the next is like beauty content of the firm should be verified by auditor firms. So everyone will know that information in the CSR report is true. Also, it should be implemented award labels and CSR report certification on the national level. In fact, in Poland they have such kind of awards, but basically it's concerned just with the philanthropy, not with CSR. And also it's zero company impact. They have to say that we don't have any bad impact on the environment and on the community. What about long perspective? In the long perspective, it also should be product sustainability. The products which is made by any company should be sustainable. And also, it should be prohibited every kind of products which is not sustainable in society, as much as possible. The point is also the zero product life cycle impact should be implemented. If you speak, for example, about the building industry, how many people should die during the construction? What do you think about this? Construction, it's not a kind of business, the people die, and everyone knows about this. But what is the amount of people that should die during the construction? This is zero. Because nobody can say that someone will die or something like this, but everyone thinks that it should be like this. But basically, up to now, we have a lot of accidents on the building, on the construction industry. So all of this stuff should be implemented on the national level. And just in this case, then something will happen in the CSR activity. It would not be anymore like unethical, but it would be illegal. And in this case, firms would care about what they are doing in the CSR context. That's the first part. And the second part, I would like to say about the global forum, which was held here in Wrocław at the beginning of the June. And I think that for you, as for people who are involved in the political science and psychological science, it would be interesting. Here I have the participant list, and you see it's almost like 15 pages with people. And if you see it through, you will see what on the global forum was representatives of all countries. At first, it was the ambassadors of all the countries.
The second, it was ministers, like Polish ministers and ministers from the countries of your union. It was the Minister of Ukraine as well. Also, I'd like to say that it was this year the President of Estonia and Vice President of Poland. So it's like high-level occasion, like event in Wrocław, and it's for free. So the next year you can simply apply for the business forum, for the global forum of the Wrocław, and you will be participant as well. It's an interesting event because you can speak with anyone you want and you will gain the ideas. What is the next step? And what countries think about the crisis which has happened a few years ago and about things what is now. Basically, I would like to say you that this year everyone was involved in the topic of the Russian and Ukraine conflict. And I would like to say you that President of Estonia said that maybe the next would be Estonia, just because 5 million Russian people live over there. Or maybe it would be Germany, just because 3 million Russian people live there. So the president or the vice president of the Prime Minister of the Poland said that they increase the expenses for defense like 2 times this year, just because they don't know what will be the next Russia step. So this is some kind of steps against the crisis, and you will hear about this like from the first persons who are involved in all of these activities. If you are interested in participating, it's over here. And the second event I would like to talk with you about is German Marshall Fund of the United States Forum, what was held last week. And this forum was consist of 3 basic panels. The first panel discussion was power of future, and the topic was concerned with delivering cheap, reliable, and clean energy to the Europe. As far as you know, the question about shale gas revolution is discussed so often that it's like revolution now in the energy industry right now. But in Poland, they still have some kind of fears. Is it necessary or not necessary? It's the first point. And the second point, some of the countries just afraid that United States will be involved in the energy policy of the country if we will start to develop shale gas in the country. And I would like to say also that up to now, nobody knows which is the percentage of each source of energy should be implemented in the country. I mean like wind energy, coal, electricity, and solar energy as well. Nobody knows. The Germany that produced that much wind and solar energy still use a lot of coal. And they don't say coal anymore. They say something like stable fossil, just because coal doesn't sound that much good as it sounds before, like 20 years ago. So the problem is, a lot of people just speak about renewable sources of energy, and they don't speak about coal, but they still use it, and use it as much as before. The second panel was, and on this first panel, it was involved the representative of Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs of Energy in Germany, and the president of European Association of Coal in Brussels. The next panel was Ukraine, lost between East and West. And as usually, everyone was scared about the next steps of the Russian Federation, like who would be the next and what would be the next. And the problem also is, as we talked yesterday, there is no real help to Ukraine about Russia. So Ukraine has to deal with Russian conflict by itself. And the problem is also, we call it crisis, like Ukrainian-Russian crisis. We don't call it war. Why we don't call it war? Just because Russia don't say that they have their troops in Ukraine. They say that there is no Russian troops in Ukraine. That's why we call it crisis. We don't call it war. But basically, how it is. And the last final discussion was the Europe whole free and in the peace at the time of US in Asia. For the last decades, the politics of US changed so dramatically to the European Union because Asia became more and more powerful. That's why they changed the side of the world, not on the Europe, but to the China and to the Asia as well. And what is the next step for the Europe? It should be do everything by itself, or it should wait for the US help or US cooperation, transatlantic cooperation, or maybe they should care about Turkey, who become more powerful during last decades. But there is a fear also because this country is Muslim country. So what we should do? We should care about transatlantic relation or Europe-Turkey relation. What is better for Euro-Union? This question was arised, but there was no answer. The representatives of the Warsaw Forum is here as well. If you're interested, just check it. Do you have any questions? Any comments concerning with CSR education? Okay, then we will see each other after Polish classes.
Virus.